Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the podcast from Texas. We've got Emma Rainville from Austin, and I'm currently in Houston. And she is a COO, and she is the operations guru dove, the wizard of ops. And she's also an author, business mentor. And the number one thing that clients come to her for help with is inefficient and chaotic business operations that hinder growth and scalability, whether that's revenue, whether that's processes, whether that's team. And she has a framework called the WAVE operational strategy and insights from her book Scope that we're going to hear about. And I'm really happy to have her on to talk about this, her expertise. So Emma, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. Briefly introduce yourself. And I know you were talking about the three top things that people come to you for help with.
Sure. So I'm Emma Rainville. I am the owner of Shockwave Solutions. It's a COO fractional services agency. We don't just come with the COO, we come with the whole ops team. So we actually are very different than most because we execute all of the strategies that we discuss with our clients. And I own a bunch of other services businesses in the space of direct response and e-commerce. I've written the book, a best-selling Amazon author, Scope, SCOPE. It's an operational framework for people in direct response with remote teams. So that's who I am. A lot of our clients come to us because they're in some type of operational turmoil, whether they're merchant accounts are about to be shut down because their customer service isn't able to keep up or their fulfillment isn't able to keep up with their sales. Sometimes it's because they're not profitable and they're selling $8 million a month in sales, but their expenses are 8.1. Sometimes it's just because they really want to scale. They want to scale big. They want to make good money. They want to grow an empire, but their team isn't quite able to keep up with them due to operational inefficiencies and ineffectiveness. They recognize that, so they call me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. These are all operational mistakes and fixes. We talked about the most common. So, what frameworks for success and what is your WAVE operational framework and the actionable steps within it for streamlining and scaling businesses?
Sure. So WAVE is the foundational framework, and Scope is the operational framework. So foundationally, WAVE is written vision, absolute focus, values driven future, and your execution plan. So, what is your business? Where do you want to be in the next 10 years? What am I absolutely focused on in that business? What are the values of that business? So, what is our avatar? What do we look like? All my employees, all my vendors, everyone. And then what is it that we're going to execute over the next 1, 3, 5, and 10 years? And then Scope is the operational framework. Scope is setting your vision. So essentially, Scope S is WAVE. C is core processes. O is operational excellence. P is people development. You can't grow a business without growing your people. And E is, again, execution plan, because every plan, every strategic meeting is useless without an execution plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a great, I studied Tony Robbins and he was talking about growth and scaling. And you discuss strategies for scaling businesses to 8 or 9 figures. But once you get to that level, maintaining operational efficiency and profitability is a whole nother beast. So how do you scale safely to those figures?
First and foremost, by having a structure and a system in place by how we run the business, right? So when do we have meetings? What's our cadence of communications? How are projects managed? Who is managing what? A hierarchy and accountability chart is very, very important for any business. And far too often you have businesses where there's a bunch of people wearing different hats, and sometimes those hats are interchangeable and nobody knows where to go. So we create structures that are fluent for growth and can work for 3 employees, 30 employees, 300 employees, and they're built to grow with the business.
Okay. Interesting. So the next question I have for you is just talk about the role of leadership in operations and how CEOs and leaders can balance vision with practical day-to-day operational decision making.
Would you read the question again? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So basically, because the CEO role is a lot different than the COO role. And so, how
Yes.
can these leaders balance the strategy and the vision with kind of the COO who does the practical day to day operational decision making?
How can they balance? I think what you're asking is how does the CEO and the COO balance each other? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about those roles first. So the CEO's role, like his primary function, is to raise the shareholder value for the shareholders, even if the shareholder is himself, right? He's casting the vision, big ideas, and relationships. And the COO is everything else, the day to day from sales to delivery of products and how you run your business. And so I think that the structure that we've created with scope and that operational framework allows the CEO and the COO to be aligned in vision, because they need to be if the COO is plugging in this CEO's vision, right? So it allows them to be aligned and on the same page. And alignment is everything. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. The other thing that was really interesting is the Zappos book. They put the culture on the map, and before that, the role of culture was just off the side. But talk about the role of culture and operational excellence.
Sure. So it's certainly the COO or the operations team's job to direct the culture of the business. And so, if you're doing the foundational framework correctly and you've got that values driven future down, you've got to create a team that can be vulnerable with each other, that can be kind to each other, but can also be honest with each other. If you're doing something that's going to hurt the company, I have to have enough faith and trust in you to be able to tell you that you're not going to get mad at me or strike back at me. So building teams that are battle buddies, I hate the term we're a family or the business is my baby and all the staff are a family. That's just not true. You would never fire one of your children. You absolutely would fire an employee if they stopped showing up. You would stop paying them. So I like to use the word battle buddies. No man left behind. We all win together. We all strive together. We all work together. But because we could all die out there, we have to be honest with each other when we're making mistakes, and we have to hold each other accountable respectfully, and then be at one and be at peace with someone else's idea might be what we're going for, but we're all committed to make that work no matter what.
Interesting. No, especially in business, no conversation would be amiss without talking about AI. And what are some how do you see AI impacting operations for your company, or how has it already? And what are the best ways to leverage AI for the positive efficiency and growth?
Oh man, AI is just I recently just spoke at AI Bot Summit, and you never think an operator would be there speaking, but AI is just kicking butt and taking names right now, and you can either lean into it or be left behind. And so I'm loving this AI automations world that we're living in, where we can do 5 times the work in a quarter of the time and have it, the quality is better because humans make mistakes and computers just don't make as many. I'm seeing in the world right now, there's never been more of a need for operators than there was before.
Mhm.
There's never been a need. There's never been such an importance. And so I'm very excited for the future. And I'm currently seeing people are hiring us to come in and implement automations and AI and robotics and create autonomous agents and systems and processes all around that. And it's just what a freaking time to be alive.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the future, especially if you see what like the internet and you had smartphones and search and social media. It's going to be really interesting how AI really comes in and
Yeah.
changes industries.
Already is changing industries.
So, so for example, AI in your role, is it more automation? Is it more replacement? Is it more delegation? Is it more elimination? How AI functions, or is it going to help the CEO to develop a vision and a strategy? Talk about
All of it. All of it. It's all of it. So I can look at any single part of the business right now and I can go, do I eliminate this? Do I automate this? Do I kill this? Do I delegate this? Or do I AI robotics this?
Mhm.
And so now I can, instead of do it, I don't want to replace anyone in my business, by the way. I have good people. Why would I get rid of good people? I can get more work out of them now. I can get a massive amount of work out of them now by allowing my people to use AI automations and robotics. They, like, for us, we used to only be able to do 2 clients per person.
Oh,
And do 10 clients per person right now because of the way AI and automations has made everything so easy. From I can create a project in a few minutes and click up using AI. Then I can have all the automations do all the talking for me. So everybody gets all the notifications that needs to be notified on the projects without long meetings and long discussions. And then we can have all of our follow-ups automated through Slack. It's and then the actual projects themselves can be done utilizing AI. It's mind blowing what's happening right now and what we have in front of us.
yeah. And talk about customer support, because customer support is usually like and people usually don't pick up the phone or get on a chat unless there's a problem. And customer support is more of a people on the front lines. And how does AI play into this? Because enhancing customer support processes directly impacts revenue and overall business growth. If you have a machine or robot talking to an angry customer, isn't that going to make things worse?
I think that you're absolutely correct. However, some people don't want to talk to a human being, right? So our generation wants a human being to yell at. We
Yeah.
want to talk to a human being and make them feel how we're feeling.
Yeah.
Our children want to talk to AI and just get their refund or get their password or get their order refilled.
Yeah.
They want to talk to another human being. So I like giving them 3 options. Do you want to chat? Would you like to use our automated virtual assistant, or would you like a human? You'd
Mhm.
actually be surprised how often they pick chat and AI virtual assistant, but I always have a human ready and at the wait to discuss anything they want to discuss at any time, because I think that the rapport building of customer support is important that my customers know that they're important enough that I don't care if I'm paying someone to sit and wait for their phone call.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fascinating because just talking with just airlines or just very like this product services that you and me we use frequently. Sometimes they fail, so you have to, and sometimes it's better to talk to a human versus
I refuse to talk to AI. I'm 47. I want to talk to a human being. When I call Delta Airlines, I'm a diamond member. I expect Delta Airlines to have someone there to pick up the phone that can speak to me and knowledgeably speak to me about whatever I want to speak with. I've spent a lot of money there, but I'm not actually their primary demographic anymore.
Interesting. I know we have a few minutes remaining, and the other question I have for you is talk about your book as well, and what the key tenets and what people can expect to find in it.
Sure. So, scope is an operational framework for people. It's really written for people in direct response, but any company using remote teams can use it. It really is based around having remote offsite people. There's plenty of frameworks out there and some great ones, but none of them really look at a couple of things that I look at. The first one is one of the primary things that I noticed as I was building my own business and I was helping other people build businesses is that I was helping other people and myself build a phenomenal business that was ruining their personal lives. Because in the point of planning, we weren't taking into account that we had children, that were going to get married and we need to go on vacation with spouses and graduations and baby showers. And we didn't take that into account. And so all we focused on during strategic planning was the business. And so that's what we built. And so I look at the business and I look at personal life and we build a plan that way. The second thing that Scope does that others don't do is those remote teams, those offsites, creating team practices and culture and being able to do team building when you have people all over the world. I have a guy in Mauritius, Africa that couldn't fly to the United States to do a team building exercise if he wanted to. So we really looked at those 2 factors and we said this is missing. And so we put it together with Scope. And as I said before, Scope is setting your vision, set your operational framework, core processes, making sure you have your processes dialed in, not just notated, but dialed in so that they're effective and they're efficient and the way you're doing things is profitable. operational excellence. If we function off of operational excellence, we're going to make way more money, we're going to have way less fires, and we're going to respond to things that come up rather than react constantly to fires. People development, you can't grow your business without growing your people. You could, but you're going to have to constantly have a ton of turnover and then you lose all the tribal knowledge. Developing your people is really important. And then E, always the most important factor of any plan is the execution of that plan. A plan well written down is nothing better than toilet paper if you don't have a way to execute it.
Yeah, interesting. And you're also the host of Special Ops. And so talk about key strategies you cover on Special Ops and the Big Chance podcast that you believe every entrepreneur should know.
Sure. So I host my own podcast, Special Ops Podcast. It's just actionable steps that anyone that owns a business can take in the operations elements of their business. I talk to different people. Sometimes it's just me, but I talk to different people like FTC attorneys, and I talk to growth strategists, marketing strategists, and how operations can come together and really help increase the revenue, bottom line, and the profits. And then the other podcast I co-host with Perry Belcher is Trainwreck. We used to be called Big Chance. I need to update that, but we just recently changed the name to Trainwreck because him and I together are Trainwreck. He's he's the godfather of direct response marketing. He's an absolutely brilliant human being, phenomenal resource to have. And we sit on a podcast once a week for an hour and argue about everything because I'm operations and he's marketing. And it's really fun debate on how to grow a business.
How can people find out more about you and reach out to you and learn more from you?
Sure. My favorite thing in the whole world that I've done is I created a visionary bolt and it's completely free and I never try and sell anyone in it. Specialopspodcast.com is a members area. Again, it's called Visionary Bolt. It has every course I've ever written, every speaking engagement I've ever done, stage I've ever spoken on, workshop I've ever done. It's all in there. It's all totally free and no one's ever going to try and sell you anything. So if you're interested in learning more about operations, specialopspodcast.com is where you can find me, sign up for it. And if there's other things you want, like my book or reaching out, all that's on there too.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on and keep up the great work.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.